Nehemiah 12:27-47. Nehemiah oversees the dedication of the rebuilt wall of Jerusalem. He organizes 2 processions to march around the city in opposite directions, and both processions end up in the area of the temple. Officials are put in charge to supervise contributions to the temple and the Levite priests. Nehemiah dedicates the city wall. When the city wall of Jerusalem was dedicated, the Levites were brought in from wherever they were living, so that they could join in celebrating the dedication with songs of thanksgiving and with the music of cymbals and harps. The Levite families of singers gathered from the area where they had settled around Jerusalem and from the towns around Netophah and from the priests and the Levites performed ritual purification for themselves, the people, the gates, and the city wall. I assembled the leaders of Judah on top of the wall and put them in charge of 2 large groups to march around the city, giving thanks to God. The first group went to the right on top of the wall towards Rubish Gate. Hosea marched behind the singers, followed by half the leaders of Judah. The following priests, blowing trumpets, marched next. And then the priest's name. Next came Zechariah, the son of Jonathan and grandson of Shemaiah. And then talk about the ancestor. Then he was followed by members of his clans, and the member of his clan's name, all of whom carried musical instruments of the kind played by King David, the man of God. Ezra the scholar led his group in the procession. At the fountain gate, they went up the steps that led to David's city, past David's palace, and back to the wall at the water gate on the east side of the city. The other group of those who gave thanks went to the left along the top of the wall, and I followed with half of the people. We marched past the Tower of Ovens to the broad wall, and from there we went past Ephraim Gate, Jeshana Gate, the Fish Gate, and the Tower of, and some more places. We ended our march near the gate to the temple. So both groups that were giving thanks to God reached the temple area. In addition to the leaders who were with me, my group included the following priests, blowing trumpets. And then the name and the singer name. The singers, led by Zerahiah, sang at the top of their voices. That day many sacrifices were offered, and the people were full of joy because God had made them very happy. The women and children joined in the celebration, and the noise they all made could be heard for miles, providing worship in the temple. At that time, men were put in charge of the storerooms where contributions for the temple were kept, including the tithes and the first grain and fruit that ripened every year. These men were responsible for collecting from the farm near the various cities the contribution for priests and the Levites, which the law required. All the people of Judah were pleased with the priests and the Levites because they performed the ceremonies of purification and the other rituals that God had commanded. The temple musicians and the temple guards also performed their duties in accordance with the regulations made by King David and his son Solomon. From the time of King David and the musician Asaph long ago, the musicians have led songs of praise and thanksgiving to God. In the time of Zerubbabel and also in the time of Nehemiah, all the people of Israel gave daily gifts for the support of the temple musicians and the temple guards. The people gave a sacred offering to the Levites, and the Levites gave the required portion to the priests. So people were dancing. There were 2 groups who went along the top of the wall, and there were musicians, and they were leading in worship. They were singing on the top of their voices, and then the women and children danced, joined in, and their like voices were heard for like miles. So it was a very joyful celebration, and they also had the offerings, and I think those offerings are probably going to be shared among the people too. Muốn gì con? Mà không có biết con. Well, it doesn't say that the sacrifices were like distributed, but it was a big celebration. So I envision it to be like what is written, and it's very joyful and with a lot of singing and shouting and like joy. So like yesterday, like we celebrate major holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, Good Friday. But besides that, I can't, and communion. But yeah, those were pretty much it. Yeah, we have songs, we have praises to celebrate. I mean, sometimes they even have like solo, like singing, like where a person would dedicate a song. And then we have a sermon. There's for Harvest Festival, there's rides and stuff like that for the kids, but I haven't participated in Harvest Festival, so I don't know much about it, but I know that there were rides for the kids, and so it was fun. But like regarding like and there are ministries where they bring food, like potluck, and like kind of like share the food together. But yeah, I wasn't part of those.